Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Fan View, where I welcome one of my correspondents onto the podcast to discuss current matters at his club. And quite often we do these when it's all doom and gloom. But our Newcastle correspondent, Simon Bibby, has got cans, I believe. He is a winner. How are you, Si?
Wow, I almost started tearing up there just when you started talking about it. I'm an emotional wreck, to be honest. It just doesn't feel real, to be honest. I woke up and I've watched every single video I could possibly watch, and I woke up and I just watched them all again, all the stuff that I liked yesterday, just to check that it actually happened. It's bizarre, man. And I've thought about what I would do with this podcast if we ever did win one. So I'm glad that I'm glad that we managed to do it before I retired.
Yeah, I had a moment, as I said to you, of Cameron before we started. I was on the way back from Fulham on Sunday, and I thought, Sean, if Newcastle do win this, got to get you on because it's not something we've commonly done where correspondents won a trophy and got them on. Your story and Newcastle's story is very different to the majority. Firstly, you obviously weren't at Wembley on Sunday. You're not even in the country. Where did you watch
No.
the final?
I watched it in a Irish themed sports bar in New Jersey. So I'm here on a work trip. So if people don't follow the story, it's fine. I don't think I've actually mentioned it. I moved to the US, relocated about 6 weeks ago, and I'm up here in New York for a work trip, looking at places to potentially live. And we happen to be, and do you know what? I completely forgot. I've got so much going on in my life. I completely forgot it was the final on Sunday. I know it sounds terrible, but I just got so much going on that I had to like beg my girlfriend to watch the game. So she agreed, and we ended up running around New Jersey trying to find a sports bar that had the game. Found one that said they'd put it on, but they didn't have a subscription to it. It was like Paramount Plus or some ridiculous channel that's never had a sports game in its life. Couldn't find it, so I ended up watching it on my phone in the corner of this like rotting pub that still stunk of like the night before when everyone was out celebrating St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, it was quite funny jumping up and celebrating and crying when everyone else was like tucking into their brunch and stuff. So very weird experience, but I won't ever forget it, that's for sure.
So that would have been in the morning in America as well, right? Kinda.
Midday, basically like
Yeah.
12:30 kickoff was, yeah. So like middle of the afternoon, still managed to get a few in, a few Guinnesses. Barely kept the second one down though. I was so nervous at the end of that game.
Fair game, mate. You must be buzzing. We're going to talk about some of that, but I feel part of the story here is the journey, right? I presume, Si, you're not old enough to remember the 1955 FA Cup final when you beat Manchester City.
No, but it gets brought up every time we got anywhere near a final. So not old enough for that. Definitely old enough for the pain of the late 90s and those cup finals for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk that, and I presume you also weren't old enough to remember the Fairs Cup, which is now the Europa League, and that triumph in 1969,
No,
which
mate,
was
I'm not that
Newcastle's
old.
last trophy. Now that it's all done, can you quite believe, now that it's sunk in, if it's sunk in, that your football club and a club your size actually went that long without winning a trophy?
I can believe it because I support this club and I know how batshit crazy it is. Could I believe if it was another club of similar stars? No, it would feel ridiculous. But like even this journey of when the takeover happened, like no one would have predicted that we'd be on this course of going what 3 transfer windows without signing a first team player, which is why I think just the fact that we won it with this team, right? We won it with this team and like the players that started the project are still here. Like if it wasn't for PSR, like Trippier probably wouldn't still be here. He wasn't still here. He was like, he wasn't even the team a month ago, and he was fantastic yesterday. Like really, like, and you could see it in the cup semi final with Arsenal as well. Like he really like showed the team like how to get through a big game like that with a bit of shithousery and all that stuff. But like he was fantastic. So I'm super happy like him, and like I know we'll talk about Dan Burn, I'll talk about him all day, but just really happy that it was this group of players that did it, and it wasn't. There won't be any tags on it like, oh, like Saudi money bought this trophy. I don't think
No, I
I've
don't think
heard
so.
one. I haven't heard one peep about that because it's been a bit of a struggle, to be honest, the last year and a half, just thinking about like what could be and having the limitations put on our club and getting so close 2 years ago and getting back there now and just it just felt like everything about the day, like the preparation just felt right. It felt like we'd learned our lessons from 2 years ago. And like credit to Eddie Howe for that. I think everything about the setup yesterday from what I saw was completely different. Down to
I th-
like Bruno not dyeing his hair. Like even that when I saw that, I was like, right, this is like he means
Business.
business. Yeah.
I think it's right, and you'll have to deal with this a little bit. And I certainly don't want to kind of bring down the tone. That some people are going to have reservations with whatever Newcastle do going forward in terms of success because of the ownership of the football club. But I kind of, unless you support Sunderland or supported Liverpool yesterday, I kind of defy anyone not to kind of understand what those football fans were going through. I mean, when the Chiesa goal, when you saw the replay that it was onside, all that's going through my head is like you can't blow it. I didn't really care if you won or not, to be honest. Like from a Tottenham's fan perspective, you almost take a bit of pressure off me, you not winning something, because now it's like, oh no, it's how long it's since Tottenham won a trophy. But I was happy for you and the people of Newcastle that have gone and been through all this and the near misses. Those near misses include a couple of finals in the 90s, back-to-back FA Cup finals, in which you were big underdogs in both, right? Arsenal went on to win the double in '98, and Manchester United went on to win the treble in 1999. But I remember as a child, even then, how big it was in terms of how long it had been since Newcastle won a trophy. But '98 had been 29 years since you'd won any trophy, over 40 since a domestic trophy in England. What's your memories of those two finals and how you felt about them?
The overriding one was just like wanting to do it for Alan Shearer, I think, more than anything. Because he had a lot of stick for coming back to or coming to the club and turning Manchester United down. And yeah, we were underdogs. We were going up against the two champions that had like steamrolled the league that year. So we always felt like it was an impossible task, but we just didn't play well. We didn't play well in either game. And I think that was almost the most disappointing thing. And then you fast forward to the cup final 2 years ago against Manchester United. We played all right, but we just didn't score the first goal. And it actually did feel like eerily similar to that. Just, you know, not not every fan gets to sort of experience what a cup final loss sort of feels like, but gut wrenching. And I'll be completely honest, did not think yesterday like I thought we had a chance. And when Liverpool lost to PSG, I felt like something might be on here. But yeah, just it's hard to put into words like what it feels like, especially like, I'm so happy like Alan Shearer was there and there was like a bunch of ex-players there yesterday as well. Kind of really shows like the connection. And I feel like everyone who's played for the club in the last 70 years is probably that's still alive is like kind of that was for them. And you could feel it as well from people that were commenting online and ex-players and stuff. Like part of that was like their win yesterday, which I know sounds cheesy, but yeah, same for the fans as well. Like incredible.
That affect you seeing Shearer in the ground at Wembley on Sunday because he was proper celebrating.
And Ant and Deck, yeah.
And Deck, who was seen on the
Girlfriend,
TV
girlfriend
more
like
than
that.
Salah.
She
I've
was
seen
like,
a few
oh.
people do that joke. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. No, no, to be honest, not really. I think by that point, they're obviously, it was just like in the middle of the game, you're not really thinking about it. And then at the end of the game, well, the dodgy stream I was on cut out like 10 seconds. So luckily, actually, I was bawling my eyes out at that point. But because the stream cut out, I managed to regroup myself and try and find another stream to watch. It was that bad, but I guess that kind of saved me in the end if it had actually been on TV or I don't know what I'd do if I was in the ground. Like fair play to anyone that went there and has got like a I don't know a tear left in their body after experiencing that.
It's a regret on that you weren't there.
No, no, because you know me, like you've been talking to me for like ages. I'm not like your atypical kind of like fan. I've been and see the team live less than like 30 times, I'd say. Like probably more away actually. Like I've lived in London. I've never lived in Newcastle. Like just started supporting them in the 90s, pretty much whenever I thought they were going to like win the league with the Kevin Keegan era. That's kind of how it started. And yeah, if you'd have told me it would be 2025 before we won something, I wouldn't have believed it at the time. So no, no regrets for not being there. Would like to be at the next one though, if I can.
I mean, you've even chosen this pain, which is quite interesting because you fell in love with Keegan's entertainers team, right? Whereas I guess for most people in Newcastle, Newcastle almost chooses them. It's
Yeah,
like a default thing, I guess. If you're in
yeah, yeah.
Newcastle, most people will just support Newcastle. You actually chose this path of pain, Si.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but what are you gonna do, eh? It's what you love is what you love. And I guess it feels sweeter now after having gone through all those years and all the different ownership groups and everything else, just to kind of like get to this point and kind of still feel surreal.
And that's it, because the part of the story is obviously mentioned in the 2000s in the 90s, which was after the team that obviously come really close to win the league under Kevin Keegan in particularly obviously 1996. So you've had close near missing league title, two FA Cup runners up. You actually lost the semi final the next year to Chelsea when Rob Lee scored in the semi final at Wembley. There was another defeat to Manchester United. I want to say 04, 05, I think. 2005, you lost to Manchester United in the semi at Cardiff when the semi-finals were there. And then a kind of a real period of, I guess, doldrums, having had Sir Bobby Robson and Champions League football,
Hmm.
where there was obviously the issues of Mike Ashley's ownership, which obviously included obviously a couple of relegations. At the point of relegations and playing championship football, do you ever foresee this day happening? Because by this point, I guess it's gone beyond the Newcastle haven't won anything for X amount of years to I just want to see my club play at the top division and enjoy supporting my football team again, right? First and foremost.
Well, I wanted to see us lift the championship trophy, which we did on the final day. That was nice.
Oh, so you're going
To
to tell
see
me
Eddie.
that counts now, or does it still not?
Yeah, the trophy at the end of the day. Yeah, it's people like it's different for a big club like us that had the finances and was able to keep the team together and get back up. You can almost enjoy that single championship season. Seeing us play different teams, you kind of you find your club again based on like the players like grouping together. And Jamal Lascelles, it was great that he was, he's still part of the club, which is kind of crazy to think about. And he was the one that kind of really sort of drove that era of the team, and like him and Shah signed in 2018, I think. Yeah, it's mental to think we're this far into our ownership rebuild and those guys are still here. But yeah, I've got fond memories of every season, to be honest, just not quite none as big as yesterday.
Okay, so the final couple of years ago against Manchester United, again, underwhelmed, didn't it?
It's too emotional, like the whole day. And like I said about the preparation, I think the club bought into that. Like all the players were like reading out letters from their family and things like that. And it felt like, we'd arrived. And even like Manchester City, I think they might have lost a final or two. Like you have to go through that pain, I think, and that experience to then show whether you can come out the other side. And the fact that we've kept the team together, Eddie Howe's obviously still our manager, and he's learned from that experience. I think it just tells you what you need to know about him.
Okay. A few of the Newcastle patrons had said to us that it felt like it was business this time. And they'd said that before the semi final, actually, against Arsenal. That against United, it had felt like an event. You were anticipated to beat Southampton in the semi final before that, which you'd done. And then it felt like the event. Newcastle were
Yeah,
back at Wembley. And it was nice to be a part of it. Even though you had a very good team at the time and went on to finish top four alongside Manchester United, it felt more like Newcastle was back at Wembley. But this time, even before the semi final, the guys were saying this is about business now. It's about getting the job done. What was your reaction to the victory against Arsenal? And then I guess watching Liverpool wallop my team the next night, knowing that you're going into another final, knowing you'd be underdogs again.
there was a bit of deja vu about playing like the champions elect, like we did the last two times we were in the final. Plus, got the added bit of my dad supports Liverpool, so we have like a little cheeky side FPL bet on
Are you
who wins
talking?
each game. Yeah, you know what I mean?
No, you and your dad, I mean, not me and
Oh.
you.
Um, we exchanged a few messages. Yeah, he played his trip. He played his free hit, so I had to watch him, captain Bruno. About 2 hours later, I didn't give a shit, to be honest. I was happy for him. So at least he won that on the day. But yeah, we have a little side bet of when we play each other in the league. Like it's just like £10 each way, and if we meet each other in the cup, and we haven't until this point, so I was like, oh god, it's got to be a final, isn't it? So yeah, that was pretty sweet. I haven't spoke to him properly yet. Just still been like running around, trying to get back to home in Florida, to be honest. Um, but yeah, I don't know what you're saying, mate. To be honest, I'm like
That's all
all
right.
over
I was
there.
just thinking, actually, is there anything more in the fact it's Liverpool because of the legacy of the
Yeah,
the Keegan 4-3 as well?
yeah, yeah. go back to your previous point about this is business. We went on that run about what 6, 7 weeks ago when Tonali moved to like the number six role, and we looked like pretty much the best
Good.
team in the league, like really good, really solid. And I think the last time I was on here for one of the Clash of Correspondents, I talked about like our form running up to the cup final, and I expected us to have like a bit of a wobble, and we did. But it was just back to that, I think. Yeah. Felt like that was the team that we were watching play, like stifle teams and just give like absolutely nothing up on that run that included the cup semi-final. So yeah. But you never know until that first goal goes in. Like it's if Liverpool score first, it's all that preparation and this is business goes out the window. But yeah, we got it, fortunately.
Okay, the final team lineup comes out. Is it what you expected?
Well, I missed the team lineup because I was I was trying to find a stream in the taxi to the bar. I was happy to see Pope in goal. I think that cements him as number one for the rest of the season. Sorry for that fog on if you heard that. I think his sweeping was like you saw it yesterday. It was so fundamental to the way we wanted to play and press Liverpool and stop them getting in behind down the middle with Diaz. So happy to see that. And the rest of it was kind of like as expected, to be honest. Obviously with Gordon out.
I very much thought Willock would play instead of Barnes.
I wouldn't have been surprised to have seen that, particularly like I think maybe if Trent had played, possibly you might have seen that tandem because it's worked well in the past. Willock's not played well the last couple of weeks. He's kind of like had his chance. I think Barnes is sort of player that in any moment can like he almost doesn't like think too much in a final that can work in your favor. So I was happy to see that, and I think given the money we paid for him and the career he's had at Newcastle so far, it was nice to see him get that chance, and I thought he played well.
Half hour in, still 0-0. Liverpool haven't had a shot. We're playing really well, but there's not been many chances in the game. How are you feeling at this point?
Um, just about to order my second Guinness, so I was that was helping. Um, it's it. I know we're playing well, but I've been here before. It's just all about getting that first goal. That's all that matters in the cup final. It's so massive, and that was just everything, to be honest, just waiting to see if we could take that chance and for it to come the way it did in the last minute. But yeah, I thought we were playing well, and you could tell like the team set up. There's a couple of strange things that like I thought Liverpool might adjust to, particularly on corners. We were just winning everything on corners, and they just seemed to like not adjust or deal with it at all. It sort of felt inevitable. But if I supported any other club or I was watching it neutral, I'd be like, they're going to score from a corner. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like
I mean, the
that would come
tactic
to
felt
fruition.
very clear that in Dan Burn, you've obviously got this giant of a footballer who's obviously a big dominant player, but they obviously have their own dominant players in the air as well in Kanata and obviously particularly Van Dijk. But they obviously stay kind of zonal. A lot of teams
Yeah,
obviously do that now, and it was a clear idea that you were just going to get Burn free on the back post. It felt to me like they had to move someone out the front post area and put someone else to the back, even if they didn't take Van Dijk and Kanate out of it. Because Burn looking at McAllister was, I saw someone reference it was like the great Carly looking at Alexis, at Rey Mysterio, is what it felt like with McAllister marking Dan Burn. And there was a couple of instances before it, we thought he's getting on the end of all of these. It's all about the second ball. That's how it felt. Burn wins the
yeah.
first one. Can Liverpool win the second one? But then for the goal, the way it's come over and the way he's obviously been able to run onto it and meet it, he's obviously just gone directly for goal. As it's coming over, are you thinking he's scoring here? Because it's some header.
I've seen Dan Burn. Uh, there's been about he should have about 30 Premier League goals with the amount of chances I've seen him with his big forehead miss. So did I think he was scoring? It felt like an because of the angle as well that the camera was at. You could see like perfectly like when he made that connection,
Is in.
it's in. And I think at the split second it hit his head, and you just saw like the connection he made on it. And like he even managed to get like arc on it. Honestly, that's got to go down as one like technically one of the best headers I've seen in a long time, including like the run and everything in the ball, just like phenomenal header. And yeah, I would love to have been at Wembley. I think that was probably like the one moment. If you ask me like, do I have any regrets? I'd say like no. Most of my life I've been like TV fan. I'm happy to be labeled that. That's kind of what I am. I've watched 99.9% of games on TV. But that one moment where I think Gary Neville said that the Wembley was shaking, that's the first time he's felt that. That must have been like unworldly to have been part of that. And I guess that's why most football fans choose to go to watch their team every week, like you.
Yeah, some of us suffer more than others, mate, and your team has as well, in fairness. Talk to me about Burn, the man from Blythe. It's become complete cult hero now, hasn't he?
Beyond
Even
that,
before yesterday.
before that, I mean, what a week for the guy getting an England call up.
Yes.
He's 33. Like incredible. But if you want an omen as to like why something might happen with Tuchel in England, like for him to recognize the role that he's played and to understand like that you need those types of personalities in changing rooms. It's just incredible guy. His story is unbelievable. Like everyone thought when we signed him, oh, this is like a decent bit of business, stopgap. And then he played left back for a season, which was kind of like, okay, fair enough. And then you just think this season he'll get phased out of the team. Obviously, Botman's missed most of it with injury. Just an unbelievable character. He just represents like everything. And you hear the story about him, and like not everyone knows. It's like he's only got like 9 fingers as well. I don't know. It's like
I didn't know
there's just
that.
yeah. He caught his finger climbing up a fence, and I think he got caught in a ring that he had on, and it ripped his finger straight off. So yeah, he's only got 9 digits. But yeah, as Laura, my girlfriend, said, you don't need your hands to like score and play football, do
Easy.
you? Yeah, so just what a guy, man. Like there is going to be if there's not a statue at St James's Park of him, there'll be one on Blythe.
Of Dan
Uh,
Burn, yeah? Outside St
yeah, it's
James's.
happening. Him
Next to
doing the
Shearer and Sir
dance,
Bobby and Jackie Milburn, yeah?
and it'll be him. It'll either be him doing a header, or it'll be him like mid pose doing his stupid little dance, and then in 70 years' time, people are going to walk past that and just be like, "What is that about?" It's going to be one of those shitty like bronze statues that people just like they've messed that out.
I guess there's ironies actually. I mean, just reflecting on my team's last trophy against Chelsea in 2008, when Jonathan Woodgate scored our winning goal. We obviously also formerly played for you as well. And the irony is that Woodgate might not have started had Michael Dawson not got injured, because Michael Dawson had actually been playing really well at the time for Tottenham. And I guess in this case, it's a little bit the same, slightly different. But if Botman had been fit, I guess there's a chance Burn wouldn't have played, right? And then this whole tactic off the set plays might have never existed.
Yeah, possibly. But I think the other thing that Eddie did yesterday that was genius was because Tino was playing on that side as well, and he was pushing up and putting Burn on Salah to win those
Yep.
duels, which is quite an interesting tactic. I don't you watch more like other football teams than I do. I don't know how many other people have kind of done that this season where they've put their left centre back on to Salah because they've recognised that he's an aerial
Arsenal have
threat.
definitely done it before with Gabriel,
Arsenal have done
definitely.
it. Okay, fine. Happy that happy to say Arsenal thought of that first. But for Dan Burn at 33 to be able to like do that and have that in his arsenal, yeah, I think bodes well for England. Just a just an incredible guy. So happy for him and his family and everything else and the journey he's been on that he got to have that moment and it's one that we'll always remember.
It felt like in the first half, although you hadn't had a huge number of chances, they'd obviously had basically none. Ironically, they had one through Jota straight after you'd scored, basically, but had created nothing otherwise. It felt like Liverpool were really struggling in the midfield area, particularly with your powerful midfield three. It felt like they were winning all the duels. I spoke weeks ago about the importance of Joel Linton
Yeah.
in this final. How important are all of the three? And I guess probably start with Tonali, who's obviously kind of developed into this role as a number six, which has also freed up Bruno Guimaraes more. How important has that change been?
Yeah, huge. I said like it was came at a pivotal time in the season where we had a run against all the big teams and we had that cup semi-final and him slotting in there I think was massive. It was a bit of a rough start to the season with him and Bruno trying to figure out how to play together. I think Bruno referenced that on his Instagram stories about them playing together and winning trophies together. So it's obviously something they were conscious of. But like it won't go spoken about, but in the last 3 or 4 minutes, he was the one that was picking the ball up and like driving through the center of the pitch. And there was that one run where he managed to send Van Dijk on his ass. And like the fitness levels of that guy are phenomenal. Like I think we don't win that final yesterday without those three in midfield. Bruno didn't have his best game, but he kept his emotions in check
Until
until the
full
final
time.
whistle. Yeah, which is just like, and that is, I don't know how you get like a better scene of a captain like talking about a cup final after that, and that just like had me broken again on the taxi on the way back to the hotel room.
No, I can believe that because again, I think most neutrals would have felt that Bruno Guimaraes is a player that's come from obviously overseas, a Brazilian come to you from Leon. The way he spoke as a leader for that team and understanding the importance for the people. You know, you hear fans say he just gets it.
Yeah,
Like he gets what it means to play for Newcastle, doesn't he?
yeah, yeah. His two boys were born here. He's talks about it being his like second club. Brazilians will always have like their first club's always their local one where they were born, but like yeah, he genuinely means it, and you could tell like 2 years ago he was properly cut up about that final, and I think he I don't know, potentially might have felt responsible with the way that he like conducts himself with like putting the heart in his hair and dyeing it blonde and all that stuff, which he's done several times since. But yeah, as I said at the start, like him, I think that was a conscious decision for him to like not do that this time around. And yeah, you don't win a cup final without your captain saying the right words and having the right approach to it pre-game and during the game. So yeah, it was fantastic, even though he did that stupid little pirouette thing at the end that but then it wouldn't have been Newcastle if we hadn't conceded in the last minute. Like if we'd have won that 2-0, I wouldn't have believed that that happened. I'd have been like, there's no way that was how we were going to win our first trophy.
I did think that at 2-0, I did think, this feels a bit straightforward, this. I don't feel like this is the Newcastle way. And I think that where he's pirouetted and he's obviously lost the ball to Harvey Barnes, he he done it at a point where I think he thought the game was won. Like, I don't think he does it otherwise. Do you know what I mean? If it was 1-0, I don't think he does it. That's kind of what I'm saying. I
I
think
don't
he thought,
know.
I'd get away with this.
He does it a lot. He does it in areas of that I don't know what was going through his head. He I know what he was trying. He was trying to like shield the ball and win the foul, but he just got it his pocket picked cleanly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know the one man we haven't spoke about yet is Isak, so I don't know if we're gonna have time
Yeah, we'll get
to
there
just
quick. He's
okay.
obviously scored the second goal, which is a beautiful finish after Jacob Murphy does fantastically well, actually,
Yeah,
to win
yeah,
the
great
first
header.
header and,
Happy
and
for him
knock it
too.
down. And when it drops, all I could say to you, Si, is he's so good, most of us expect him to score that. It's not an
Yeah,
easy chance, but he makes it look it.
no, every chance he had. So he had the that was such a clean connection on it, and yeah, perfect positioning. Just yeah, like you say, like as soon as that header dropped to him, it was kind of like goal he scored in the Champions League as well. You just know, like big moments, he's not missing that. So that's another 20 million on his price tag for whoever wants to come and try and buy him this summer.
I'm gonna save that question, which is the follow-up. I'm gonna save it for a couple of weeks, mate. Now doesn't feel
Okay,
the appropriate time to say it, but you
he's
know how good he is.
yeah,
And if you don't end up in the Champions League at the end of this season, then there is the possibility, obviously, because he's too good
possibility,
not to play in it.
but he's got the taste now, and he'll know what I like. And I know I'm going to be biased saying this, but I don't know if you get that feeling as a player at any other club winning a trophy, and whether
Probably
it'll be the
not.
same, whether it be the same that we win the next one, but like the endorphins that those players must have been going through, and after like yesterday, and just seeing like the crowd reactions, and as I said, like ex-players and everything else, it felt like it wasn't a win for the team or like the club. It was the whole community, the whole fan base, every ex-player that's had that pain and lived with that tag of not winning a trophy, even though they're not going to get a medal, it felt like, they were part of that in some way. It feels cliche to say it, but it really did feel like that. I don't know. I feel I've got money to spend this summer. I think this could generally be like when you look back, the start of
Well, I
our
was going
our
to say
run.
that. Does it feel more like the start or the end? And I don't mean the end of the team. I just mean in terms of from you as the fan and the journey. This feels like a culmination of so many years of near misses and disappointment, and like we've finally done it. That's all I mean. Does this feel to you more like the end, or are you already feeling like it's the start?
Probably the end, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I
Like
get
it,
that.
it,
Yeah,
it, it, it
it
does,
can be
it
both,
does.
by the way.
Yeah, not sure what's going to happen next. I think there might be some players that leave this summer, and it might be perfect timing for that to happen potentially. But it does. Yesterday in the moment, it felt more like the end of something rather than necessarily the beginning. Um, and like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What's our next game? Brentford at home. That's
Yeah.
God.
Has that got defeat written all over it now?
Jesus Christ. I don't know how like it could be that could be real messy. So if anyone's tuned into this, listen for like 40 minutes or whatever for FPL advice, Jesus Christ, I don't know. I wouldn't
I
be
do feel,
put stock in us.
listen, you could win the Champions League in 3, 4 years. Right? It's not impossible, right? I'm not sure if it will feel as big as yesterday did
No.
for your football club. It
Uh,
obviously would for most others, but for your football club, the first one, I don't know if what's next will beat it.
no, I was thinking about this. Like, I know it sounds a bit morbid, but that might be as good as it gets.
Yeah, it could be.
Genuinely don't know. Emotionally, I don't think it will ever top that, what we went through yesterday. So yeah, it could just be it could all be downhill from here. But a couple of Champions Leagues down the
Th-
line, it might be all
There
right.
has been a history of teams that have won this competition and then finished the rest of their league season quite badly. It is a weird thing to have such a high like that before the end of a season.
Yeah, yeah,
But the
it's
goal for
something
this football
very.
club has to be to finish in that top five. Five is definitely going to be enough for Champions League.
If we didn't have Eddie Howe as manager, I'd say like there is a danger of that. I think it might be one game and we get out of our system, and then I think we got Leicester after that, which is a pretty good tonic. But yeah, the next game look the next game looks a little bit scary. I saw a lot of players look pretty drunk in Box Park last night.
I noticed as well. You mentioned about Ant and Deck. I think was it Ant was wearing a Jason Tyndall scarf.
I couldn't see on my tiny
Did you
phone,
not
to be
notice
honest.
that?
I couldn't see it. I saw he had a scar.
Go on, finish with a word on Eddie Howe.
Just, just so happy for the guy. Like that's his first trophy in his entire like professional career. Just incredible how he just managed to learn. That is the sign of like a true like top quality coach is someone that can go through a defeat and actually like adjust and learn. And that's all he's proved he can do throughout his career is adjust, learn, and to keep this squad together given everything that was kind of promised and the money that was supposed to come in and hasn't come for free windows and the change in ownership, which I was really happy to see Merhad and Amanda Staveley there yesterday. That was a nice touch. Probably bought their own tickets, but
They
yeah,
can
just
afford it.
he's been through like a lot, and to manage this club is just the pressure is unequivocal compared to probably anything but the England job, I'd say. And like, if you're going to ask like what 5, 10 years down the line, because I still think there'll come a point where like change is kind of like inevitable. Like, do I see him being our manager for 20 years, 30 years? Yeah, I would love it. I think now he's won the trophy. He can kind of like dictate his own terms. He's at that level now, even like 3 or 4 years in. I think like he's just got god tier status at the
I
club
was
and the
going to
fan
say,
base.
are we talking legend status? Are we putting him in amongst
Yeah,
other names and greats that have
yeah.
managed a football club now?
Yeah. I think Sir Bobby would always have that special connection with the club just from where he was from and his iconic status. And he just knew how to like, he had such a way with words as well, which like Eddie Howe doesn't have. But you could tell like the players love him and the fans love him, and he'll be here as long as he wants to be, essentially. I think as long as he's backed. But yeah, eventually like that
I
England job's
guess
going to
as
come calling.
long as he performs as well, right? Because I feel like it wasn't that long ago, and it's been during this season, particularly towards the start, people generally questioning whether it would stay. And we've had the conversation where we felt if you probably weren't in the Champions League next year, that there would maybe be a chance that you change. Now, I think that's different now because you've won the trophy. Changes the script here, but there will come a point where, as a football club, you're going to grow, right? He's got to grow with it. If you'd have
Yep.
said to me, "Oh, Pochettino won't be in charge of Tottenham like 6 months after a Champions League final," I'd have been like, "You're smoking crack, mate."
Yeah, that's true.
That's the way football goes, unfortunately. So he still needs to maintain standards and continue growth for Newcastle. If he does that, then yeah, he'll continue being your manager so long as he does well, mate.
Yeah. If you want to bring it back down to reality. No, you're totally right, James. If you look at the teams we've lost to this season as well, particularly at St James's Park, that's an area that needs to improve next season. We're not winning anything, and domestically in the league. We're not getting to where we need to get to if we keep dropping points against decent teams, but on paper slightly inferior. So he needs to. There is areas for him to improve, but I'd back him to do that and kind of learn the lessons from this season and take them into next year. He just needs backing in the transfer market when it comes around. He's earned it.
And for clarity, what did you really think when Chiesa scored?
Man, I was
Did you think you were going to blow it?
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought they're going to score again. I don't know what I was going to do. Jump in the Hudson River probably. It's cold enough here. I can't. I don't know if I'd like. I honestly had like three heart attacks
I
during
tell
that
you what
game.
went through my mind was, and there's no doubt he deserved to win the game. It dawned on me that if Liverpool equalised, there is no way they wouldn't win in extra time.
No, we'd be done. There's no way you come back emotionally.
Yeah,
The ground, like,
it would have been too much for everybody.
yeah, would have been too much. The players, like, it, there's no way you come back from that. I think being 2-0 up going into like injury time in the manner that we played as well, and knowing what that team's capable of, and they've done it to us in the past, especially even like when Nunes came on. I was like, I was trying to tell my partner about the two goals he scored at St James Park. That just to take my mind off it and like kill some time. I was just trying to like regale the story about how he ruined that and cost me a tenner off my dad that a couple of years ago. Yeah, just the whole game's nuts. And I'm looking forward to the DVD coming out, and I will buy the actual. I'm going to buy the actual DVD of it. Don't have a DVD player, but I
But
will
you're just
get
going to
one
buy it anyway, mate.
just for
I'm sure
that.
these days you can buy t-shirts and stuff like that. So you
Oh,
probably get your own t-shirt made.
they've already got the merch out. I've seen winners 25 now, mate. Just the DVD and some bonus commentary from Bruno. That'll do me.
Good stuff. Many congratulations, mate.
Thank
You're
you.
going to be back with us ahead of double game week 32. Yourself and Rory are going to be doing Newcastle versus Palace for the double. If people do have any FPL questions, I'm not going to bring it into this chat now. Where should they be asking you, mate?
Do you know what? I really wanted to jump on the Planet FPL Slack yesterday, but I realized I haven't got it set up on my American phone, which I was caning the data on. So I've only been able to jump in it today, and it felt like a bit like, after
After the
Lord
Lord
Mayor
Mayor show, where
show.
have you
Yeah,
been?
yeah. I was like, hello guys. Just like, yeah, just mate. All I want to say is thank you. Like we were chatting about like during the dark old days, so it feels. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it felt like maybe it's time to like hand the baton on to someone else like for this pod as well. Like, but not quite yet. We'll see how we're shaping up for the double game week 32. But it definitely does feel like yeah, a bit of an end of the journey in terms of like just being able to like come in here and talk about us winning trophies and to chat about it with you as well. Like obviously listen to you talk about football more than probably anyone. So like real honor and privilege, mate. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, mate. No, genuinely, I mean it from the heart. I'm happy for you and I'm happy for all our Newcastle followers. It feels very, very deserved. Thank you, mate. So I didn't answer the question. You can at him at FPL Bibs on Twitter. Are you on Blue Sky these days as well, Si?
I haven't signed up to that yet.
You're
Now I'm
not
in
on Blue
America,
Sky.
I might. I was worried that they might think I was anti-Trump when I was working on my visa to get here, but now I'm here, they can't kick me out, so I might sign up to that too.
Good stuff. Well done, Si, and congratulations to all our Newcastle followers. Clayton will be back with me tomorrow for the Clayton and James show. We will touch on the Liverpool perspective from Sunday's disappointment, but just see to say thanks very much, Si. Well done. Cue music, please, man child.